Hmm. Karate Kid Legends is coming out. So it's really hard for me to kind of decide on what to do to celebrate the occasion. Very, very difficult. Do I talk about the original movie? Do I talk about the Jackie Chan movie? Do I talk about both? Or should I put them both up to a little competition and see which film actually might be better than the next one? Hmm, tough call. The 84 version or the 2010 version? Almost like I should have them almost battle it out to see which one is actually more superior than the other.
Let's do it. Another time?
Greetings, kids and nerds, I'm Lady Universe and White Nerdy, and yes indeed, Karate Kid Legends actually comes out today as I am doing this video. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking that I stole this idea from Nostalgia Critic or other people, but I actually think that it'd be kind of fun, in my own opinion, not going to do everything that they have done right, but kind of like reviewing the two movies as quickly as possible and seeing like which one actually holds up better than the other, the 1984 original or the 2010 version. It'd be kind of like a double scene review for me, but I'm just gonna try to quickly review the both of them as quickly as possibly can, and seeing like which version actually is more or less the more sincere and pretty much the more like really good version of the movie, because it really does seem like that Karate Kid Legends is going to tie everything up, and that may be the last film ever. One thing that both films have going for them is that they're written by the same writer, Robert Mark Kamen. Or Kamen. So it won't be that much any more mysterious there, or you can claim that somebody is copying off of somebody else's homework since it's Robert Mark Kamen copying off his own homework. So there's no, can I copy up? So there's none of that old meme. Can I copy off your homework? Sure, but don't steal all my ideas or anything. And then lo and behold. So without out of the gate and further away, let's versus them. The Karate Kid versus the Karate Kid. Which version is actually better in hopes in regard to Karate Kid Legends that is coming out? So who would actually win in the Karate Kid movie battle? Daniel LaRusso or Mr. Han? So let's dive into it and actually see which version is actually the best. So, as always, we have to start where it all began, so let's travel back to 1984 and check out the original Karate Kid. In the original Karate Kid, we meet Daniel LaRusso, a young boy that moved from the hills of Newark, New Jersey, into a tiny little town known as Reseda. And for a brief moment, and only a moment, Daniel's life seemed to be going pretty well for him. He made friends, he started becoming happy, he even meets a lovely young woman. But of course, everything had to be not always as it seems as soon as he meets Johnny Lawrence and his team of Cobras, the Cobra Kai. And of course, they make Daniel's life an absolute living hell. Especially since for dating Allie, Johnny Lawrence decides to beat the ever-loving shit out of Daniel LaRusso, teaching him a lesson never to fuck with him and don't touch his girl. So Daniel's idea, in order to overcome his fear, was to join a karate class, until he realized that Johnny was in a karate class that he just so happened to basically glance upon. But as Daniel's life falls down the toilet and falls faster and faster, there is hope for him, hope in the most weirdest and most unusual forms of all.
Everybody out! Save yourself! Judgment has passed! Did a most unexpected fall!
No, hope finds him in the mysterious form of Mr. Miyagi, a maintenance man at the hotel that he lives in, but who suddenly becomes his ultimate master and a master in disguise. And at first, Miyagi's technique seemed a little, weird. Like he'd have Daniel, for example, like watching cars and basically doing other chores around his property. And at first, Daniel went along with the techniques, thinking that he was learning something great with the master. But unfortunately, he began to get sick and tired of it.
God, he's an idiot.
That's what Daniel thought probably at first, until he realized that he actually learned martial arts within the chores that he was doing, surprising him that yes, the master taught him. And with this newfound knowledge, Daniel joined the karate tournament in order to beat the bullies that had gotten down upon him. And of course, it's at first hard and at first it's difficult, including that they do things to him. Until Daniel eventually learned that he can defeat his enemies in the greatest of ways, overcoming his obstacles, overcoming his odds, and beating his bullies. The original Karate Kid is one of those movie staples that everyone should watch at least once in their life, and with the 1984 original, I can definitely see why. It had such relatable characters, a great cast, a great writing, and a great director behind everything. Daniel LaRusso is one of those relatable characters because we've all went through abuse, trauma, bullying during our lifetime, especially me, from 7th grade up until I graduated from school. And yes, it became very annoying. It became very stressful, but I did not let that stop me from graduating school. So the 1984 original for me is like a classic. It's one that you should see, and the 1984 original Karate Kid is one of my all-time favorite movies, definitely up in my top 10 favorite category. But now let's jump ahead by a lot of years. Let's jump further ahead 26 years, right? Yes. So let's jump ahead by 26 years and see if the Karate Kid in 2010 is actually better than the other. Now, I will say this right off the bat. Now, while people recommend let me just grab it, the 1984 original, I have to be one of those people to say that you should still watch the 2010 version of the Karate Kid. Why? Well, despite some problems that I have with the 2010 version, just a few, it still was a lot better than actually I was truthfully expecting. In the 2010 version, we meet Dre Parker, a young boy who's moving from his usual city of Detroit and moving straight to China, and yet he's also doing it because of his mother. I love the setting of the other movie better than the first, if I can be honest with you, because he's more in an unfamiliar setting than Daniel LaRusso was in his movie. And very similar to the first movie, Dre meets his own former bullies, in the form of kids that know Kung Fu, and, of course as always, they beat the ever-loving crap out of Dre. Which of course Dre does his best to try to fight back, but of course it's no use. His bullies are much more skilled than he is, and of course they beat it with him every shot out of crap.
You got knocked the fuck out, man! Give me my gun!
But Dre finds his own hope, his own shining hope, in the form of Mr. Han, played brilliantly by Jackie Chan, who honestly really did sell this movie. Now it's obvious Jackie was never going to take away Pat Morita's legacy, but dear God did he do a great job with the character of Mr. Han, who I liked a lot more than Mr. Miyagi. He's very wise, very stern, but at the same time he cares so much about Dre, and there's an obvious reason that I'm not going to spoil here because you need to see this movie. But the bond that Mr. Han and Dre had created together makes this movie all the more enjoyable and almost all the more perfect. And my one complaint with this movie is that Dre doesn't learn karate. Instead, he learns kung fu because he's in China, so kung fu just makes more sense. Which, of course, Mr. Han teaches Dre in the weirdest of ways too, by having him pick up and put down his jacket, which honestly taught him martial arts. So, much like Daniel and Mr. Miyagi, they both entered a kung fu tournament in order for Dre to win and also beat the bullies and the trauma that he had to endure just like Daniel. Which of course, as you'd expect, Dre actually does very well, does better than expected, and actually beats his bullies in it's almost the same way that Daniel beats his, even though he gets the shit kicked out of him. Which of course it ends in a different way than how Daniel defeated Johnny, but hey, for what it's worth, the film was still awesome and it ends almost in the same climactic way. In my honest of honest opinions, and in my heart of hearts, I recommend both movies. They're really damn good, especially really well written and handled by the same writer, Robert Mark Kamen, who really understood how to write great and relatable characters. Though I have to say that Daniel for the first movie was more relatable than Dre. Now here's the thing. we all had to move from place to place when we were younger, try to make new friends, get used to different surroundings and everything. And I think that Daniel is more relatable in that factor. However, I do have to point out that Dre moving to China was a lot better than Daniel just moving just basically a few states to Waseda from Newark, New Jersey. So this one obviously takes the cake for that. For the best mentor, I have to say that it's pretty much a tie. Mr. Miyagi will never be irreplaceable in anyone's hearts and minds, and definitely not my own. But Mr. Han, in my honest opinions, was an actual better teacher. And you understand why he's in suffering and why he grows to like Dre a lot. Now, with Mr. Miyagi, his character gets better during the second and third movie with Daniel, definitely so. But in the first movie, he's kind of like that mysterious teacher character, but you get a lot more with Mr. Han, so Mr. Han for me would have to win. But in all things sincerity, I would recommend watching the Karate Kid 1984 version long before Karate Kid 2010. But if I have to pick a definite winner, one that would just win above the other, you can't fuck with the classics, man. So Karate Kid, the 1984 original, would definitely, hand down for me, be the ultimate winner here. But definitely in second place would be the Karate Kid. They almost come close to being really damn enjoyable films in their own right, and with good reason. They are really damn enjoyable, and the way that both directors handled Robert Mark Common's or Kamen's original scripts is really damn good. I have no idea if Robert Mark Common is writing Karate Kid Legends, but it wouldn't surprise me for it. So both movies, in my opinion, get my really highest recommendation of these are films you should watch. Both versions. Now, a lot of people would say like, "Oh, the 2010 version sucks." It doesn't. You still should check them both out, especially if you're going to go see Karate Kid Legends, or if you have and you want to be like, "Hey, I want to see where the characters were first introduced." This is where they were introduced. So do yourself a favor and check these films out before or after you see Karate Kid Legends. It's in your own right. But I recommend the Karate Kid 1984 version over the 2010 version, even though, in my honest opinion, both were very enjoyable. Thank you guys as always so much for watching. I believe you votes. I've worked nerdy, keep it on. Let me know your favorite version of the Karate Kid in the comments down below, and which Karate Kid movie is your favorite movie. Personally, I like Karate Kid Part 2 a lot more than the original, especially how the character of Mr. Miyagi is even made greater in that performance, but that's just my overall opinion. And let me know if you saw Karate Kid Legends. I'm very excited for it. I can't not wait to watch my favorite YouTubers actually review the movie, and I cannot wait to see it myself probably next year. I am super excited. And yes, I know I'm wearing a Hawkeye Kate Bishop t-shirt while talking about the Karate Kid. I used to have a Cobra Kai t-shirt, and then it got too small for me. I have to buy a lot of t-shirts because I'm a husky boy. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to help this channel and support it grow, the best way to do so is by liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, hitting that bell icon to be notified every single time I make an upload. I believe universe, I believe nudity, keep it on, and until next time guys, and as always, keep it on, and take care.